Hello, NBA fans, and welcome to an analysis of the second round of the playoffs. We've had some great games over the past week that I can't wait to look at and talk to you guys about. Many series are already looking like nail biters right from the start. So let's not waste a moment and get right into this episode of the NBA, the week that was. Let's begin with my favorite series of the second round. The Bucks are currently up 2-1 on the Celtics, but nothing looks set in stone. Everyone around the world had the shock of their lives in Game 1 as the Celtics arrived in Milwaukee with a bang and took Game 1 by 22 points. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the presumed MVP and one of the best players in the NBA, got absolutely demolished by the Celtics' defensive plan, anchored by veteran Al Horford. Horford and company had one goal in mind: don't let Giannis get to the rim. You could argue that Giannis is one of the best finishers in history, so if you eliminate that, victory will come easy to you. What the Celtics did was they created a wall surrounding the paint as soon as Giannis got the ball to prevent him and his long strides to get an easy bucket at the hoop. This plan worked like magic for the Celtics. Giannis had a mere 22 points on 33% shooting, while the rest of the team was completely lost on both ends. After Game 1, it seemed like the series was already over. The Celtics had mastered the Greek Freak and his game. Nah, the Freak and his team are just too good. In games 2 and 3, the Bucks showed more effort on defense. People like Chris Middleton, George Hill, and Pat Connaughton stepped up and helped Giannis contain the Celtics. In the first half of both games, Milwaukee would hang around with the Celtics, being down 4 or 5 points at halftime. The second half was when they took over. They would annihilate the Celtics on offense and lock them down on defense to take a 10 to 15 point lead that the Celtics could never recover from. This series has been so fun to watch, and it will only get better from here on out. My prediction is that the Bucks will win the series in 6 games. Another great series is being played out east by the Raptors and the 76ers. Surprisingly, the Sixers hold a 2-1 lead against the Raptors. The reason that I say surprising is because I always felt the Sixers are too reliant on their stars, and when they falter, hell will break loose. Guess I was wrong. After Game 1 where the stars of the Sixers were neutralized by the outstanding defense of the Raptors, Games 2 and 3 brought Jimmy Butler classics and the absolute domination of Embiid. Jimmy had more than 30 points in both games, 2 and 3, while Embiid had a monstrous 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 blocks in Game 3 to lead the Sixers. I guess I was wrong in underestimating the best starting five in the Eastern Conference. After Game 1, they have played like a cohesive unit that is on the court for one reason: win the game. Despite the amazing performances by the stars of the Sixers, they've been helped by the horrid play of Kyle Lowry. Yes, once again, Kyle Lowry was at his supposed peak playoff performance in Game 3 by going 2 for 10 from the field and scoring just 7 points. This man angers me so much. Whenever it matters the most, he is the first to disappear. Kyle, you're meant to be the star on a stacked team and a leader for this squad. Why is Pascal Siakam playing better than you? He's a three-season player, while you're a veteran. You have to step up if you don't want the millions of people watching the NBA to think that you are garbage at the very game they watch. Kawhi Leonard is playing the series of his life, averaging 37.6 points a night, but the poor guy needs some help. Step up, Kyle, or face the wrath of Joel and Co. for the rest of the series. My prediction is that the Sixers take the series in 7 games. Let's move out west to a series filled with stars, revenge, and horrible officiating. The Warriors currently have a 2-1 lead over the Rockets, with upcoming Game 4 being held in Houston. As I said before, this matchup has brought so much star power into a 7-game series, it's just so fun to admire them. With the Warriors, you have the unstoppable Kevin Durant, also known as KD Zilla. In my opinion, KD is playing the best basketball of his career in these playoffs. Through the 9 games he's played, there was only one simple occasion where he didn't score 30 or more points. That night, he only scored 29. He has hit a new level of scoring that is just too unfair. The Warriors also feature Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, two of the top 5 3-point shooters of all time. Even though they aren't playing too well this series, they still have those star and carrying abilities. On the Rockets side, we have the scoring machine in James Harden. Like KD, Harden is playing outstanding basketball. There is a difference, however. Harden is playing with one eye almost useless. At the start of Game 2, with the Rockets down 1-0, Draymond Green was swiping for the ball but accidentally caught Harden's eye. Well, we all think it's an accident, but you never know. Since then, Harden has had one fully bloodshot and blind eye. Despite the horrific injury, Harden is still scoring at monstrous levels, especially in Game 3. With the Warriors up 2-0, it was a win-or-go-home game for the Rockets. Harden stepped up in the overtime thriller and had 41 points. Amazing. Now let's move to the part that frustrates me the most about this series: the freaking officials. The refs have made such horrendous mistakes, whether it be blatant missed calls or useless foul calls. The referees have no idea what they're doing. Game 1 could have had a completely different outcome if the refs had called the foul on Curry in the last 2 minutes, which would have fouled him out, or the missed call on Harden's potential game-tying three that would have given him 3 free throws to tie the game. Overall, I have two takeaways from this series. First, this series is going down to the wire. Second, fire the refs. Rockets in 7. This could quite possibly be the most underrated series of this decade. The Nuggets and Trailblazers are tied at 2 games apiece in a series that is so intense yet low-key at the same time. For the Blazers, Lillard hasn't been the one stepping up. It's been a real team effort. CJ McCollum was icy in Game 2 and got them the win. Game 3, one of the best playoff games of all time, went to 4 overtimes and was ended with a Rodney Hood dagger 3. Portland has been an underrated team this whole season, and they're finally getting a chance to show what they're made of on the big stage. Damian did it in the first round. Their team is doing it in the second. Let's see what other tricks they can pull out the bag to continue their great run in this playoffs. The Nuggets are similar to the Blazers. They are a young and hungry team who want to prove themselves. Nikola Jokic has 4 triple-doubles, including one today in a Game 4 victory to tie the series. He played 65 of the 68 minutes in the 4 overtime game. He's just been amazing. Supporting him has been Jamal Murray, who has had back-to-back 30-point games and had 6 clutch free throws to seal Game 4. Having said all that, another huge component of the Nuggets' success this series has been the combined efforts of Gary Harris, Torrey Craig, and all the other Nuggets who have been assigned to guard Logo Lillard. They have stepped up to neutralize his offensive greatness and are forcing the role players to play well. I believe that is a victory for the Nuggets, and I commend everyone who has worked to create and execute the plan to stop Lillard. Overall, this series between two small market teams has been a gem of a series, but the Blazers will take the matchup in 7 games. And with that, we wrap up the first half analysis of the second round. I hope you learned more about the matchups from last week and are just as excited for the rest of the games as I am. I'll see you next week on the NBA, the week that was. See ya.